Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Tagore Premanand. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vichikachaya Stotara Satya Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Iskcon BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Tagore Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So it takes 23. Rajanya. This purport is one short sentence. So is there flexibility? Are you allowed to go on to verses, or is it all fixed and it has to be just this verse? If I choose to, can I read some verses ahead? Is that permitted? All right. That's good. So let's see. I'm looking ahead a little bit, and it's a lot of narration without purports. There is a purport going ahead to text 30. So what I will do, okay, well, we have this on the board, so we'll chant this first together, and then I'll read ahead with this somewhat a little more extensive purport. So this is Canto 10, Chapter 72, Text 23. Rajanya bandhavo hiyete Brahma lingani bibrati Tadani bhikshitam tebhyam Atmanam api dustyajam Rajanya bandhavo hiyete Brahma lingani bibrati Tadani bhikshitam tebhyam Atmanam api dustyajam Rajanya bandhavo hiyete Brahma lingani bibrati Dadani bhikshitam tebhya Atmanam api dustyajam Rajanya bandhavo yete Brahma lingani bibrati Dadami bhikshitam tebhya Atmanam api dustyajam Janya bandhavo hiyete Tatani bhikshitam tebhya Ramalingani bibrati Tadami bhikshitam tebhyam Atmanam api dustyajam Vaishnavis Rajanya bandhavo hiyete Ramalingani bibrati Tadani Bhikshitam Tevya Atmanam Apidustyacham Rajanya Bandhava, relatives of Kshatriyas. He, indeed, ete, these, Brahma, of Brahmanas, Lingani, the signs, Bibrati, they are wearing, the Dani, I should give, Bhikshitam, what is begged, Tebhyam, to them, Atmanam, my own body, Api, even, Dustyajam, impossible to give up. Translation and purport by the followers, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Translation, Jarasandha thought, these are surely members of the royal order dressed as brahmanas, but still I must grant their request for charity, even if they beg me for my own body. Please repeat. Jarasandha thought, these are surely members of the royal order, dressed as brahmanas. But still, I must grant their request for charity, even if they beg me for my own body. Purport. Here, Jarasandha reveals his strong commitment to charity, especially when begged by brahmanas. Now, there's a slight possibility we can have a short class just on this verse and purport. But I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll have... I can go ahead, as we were saying. But I can say a couple of things here. That we know in Bhagavad Gita, this idea of charity, that could be a whole subject, that there's charity in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is without any yatu prakar, there's no interest in getting anything in return. One is giving charity for the sake of duty or out of bhakti, but there's no interest in return. And also another symptom of charity in the mode of goodness is that it's desha kale deshe kale patre, that it's proper according to the time and the place and the circumstance. This is charity in the mode of goodness. Then we have charity in the mode of passion. Yatu prakari taritam phalamudisya va puna. What is it? Pariklishtam. It's saying that tad danam rajasam smritam. So charity in the rajagun, in the mode of passion, that is very attached to getting something in return. That's encouraged in the Vedas also. They say you give to someone not very elevated, you get back the same. You give to Brahmana, you get back so much this life or next life. You give to a Brahmin Vaishnava, you get back unlimited. So there's some encouragement like that. But still, if one has that mentality, no matter who one's giving to, it's passionate. One is giving and I'm thinking, oh, I'll give this charity, it'll be very good for me. And datavyam cha pariklishtam. Pariklishtam means with lack of respect to the person. Like sometimes somebody may give you some charity just to get rid of you, with with contempt, you might say, or what is the Bhagavad Gita gives the exact language. This would be in chapter 17. Chapter 17. Thank you. Yes. Tadanam satvikam smritam. Then 21 is the mode of passion. So, charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Grudging moods. You don't really want to do it, but you feel obliged due to someone's pressuring you. Sometimes on Sankirtan, when we're distributing books, sometimes we get some donation, and we even can give the book, but the person is giving in the mode of passion, and the person just wants to get rid of us. all right, yeah, I'm in a hurry. It's okay, yeah, you take this, and stop badgering me. And also, do people want to get something in return? Sometimes. Maybe meet someone from India, and they may have that mood. Okay, he's some kind of sadhu or some kind of Vaishnava. Okay, I'll get something back. And then charity in the mode of ignorance is performed adesha kaliyadanam apatribhyascha diyate asakritam avagyatam tatamasamutaritam. That charity performed at an impure place, at an impure time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Now it seems like Jarasandha, the big demon though he was, it seemed like he was pretty elevated in culture, you can say. So, how does he fit into this scheme? What mode is he in? He was even going beyond giving to the proper person, because he was seeing they weren't proper persons, but because they were dressed as the proper persons, they were dressed as brahmanas, he was thinking that I have to respect, according to the etiquette and the presentation. They're presenting like that, so I have to respect the way they're presenting. That's why we shouldn't completely dismiss the importance of how we dress. Prabhupada would quote Chanakya Pandit, we eat for ourselves. In other words, we have, of course, a very surrendered soul, he'll just take prasadam. Tamal Krishna Goswami told Srila Prabhupada, let us die taking prasadam. And Prabhupada said, yes, you have understood. Because there were so many devotees with these special diets. Now, when we get into our 70s, I think they let us do that. I think it's not politically incorrect to. Of course, it has to be prasadam, but okay. Now, why did I start talking about prasadam? Because I can't remember. Why did I start talking about prasadam? How did that at all relate to the subject? Did I just become distracted thinking of breakfast, Prashant? Oh yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, backtracking a little bit. Yeah, right, of course, that we shouldn't dismiss the importance of how we dress. Dress is very important. There was an article in a newspaper about 10 years ago, I remember reading, and an old-fashioned, traditional type of lady, American lady, she was lamenting that when you go to restaurants back in the 50s, 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s, and even 70s, there were uniforms, like a waitress or a waiter, they had uniforms. And now they just look like hippies. They don't, there's no formality, there's no, like, dress. We eat for ourselves, we dress for others. That means that you're supposed to dress according, it's a public act. Eating is essentially, you have to digest, but dressing is a public act. So we should dress properly according to our position. In Vedic culture, it's described that ladies would part their hair. If parting in the middle, then they're married, you have bindi. And if you part on the side, it means that prostitute. So, of course, nowadays it may not be so rigorous and strict and detailed. But that's there. So, okay, so Jarasandha is seeing Krishna, Bhimasena, and Arjuna, and they have these broad shoulders, and they have these muscles, and they're big, and they were just speaking, begging charity, but in a very commanding, Kshatriya-like voice. So he was no fool. You can see, and I think I've seen these three people somewhere before. That was we were hearing yesterday. And so he's detected that they're putting on an act for some reason, just for the sake of begging charity. So he could have, just said, hey, this is bogus. You guys, you're putting on an act and you're not really brahmanas. Why should I give you in charity? But he's saying not only should I give them charity, but even if they ask for my own body, and I have to give up my life, leave my body. Now there's a very famous example, some of you immediately will remember, Dadachi, for making the Narayan Kavacha shield. His body was somehow or another, through some very subtle science, his body was required for that. So at first he said, what? You're asking me to give up my body? The body is the source of all happiness. How can I give up my body? Without my body, I'll be miserable. I mean, or I may not even, be alive. I mean, how can, and he said, I was just kidding. Here, you take it, doesn't matter. I'm not this body, you just take the body. So Dadachi was at least as good as Socrates in terms of his indifference to the body. So here, Jarasandha's expressed, and we shouldn't think he was just, he's just exaggerating. He had the culture. He would have done it. If they would have asked, okay, we want your body. So, all right. This is amazing level of culture. And you can have that level of culture and still be a demon? Yes. Jarasandha's example. Does that mean that it's not good to have culture? No. The misuse of a good thing doesn't make it a bad thing. One devotee in Mayapur was teaching a simple scheme. First class is follow Vedic culture and for the pleasure of Krishna. That's first class level of practice. Second class is don't follow so well the Vedic culture, but still, Yad Karo Shira, everything you do, you offer it to Krishna. Third class is follow Vedic culture. This is like Jarasandha's third class here. Follow Vedic culture nicely, but not for Krishna's pleasure. So that's at least third class. Fourth class is don't follow Vedic culture and don't offer it to Krishna, which is all too common nowadays. That's fourth class. So, pretty amazing. It kind of reminds us also how Shukracharya, he sees Vamanadev, he says, he's not just a dwarf, he's not a kid, he's not a little brahmana, he's a Vishnu, he's Lord Vishnu, he'll take everything away. And Bali Maharaj said, oh, that's not so bad. That's why Bali Maharaj is famous as Atma Nivedana. He's ready to surrender everything. And he also surrenders his own body. He offered his head. And he actually became bound up as a slave, as a prisoner in the, what is that called? The Naga, the snake ropes. Certain kind of snake that uses ropes to tie people. In that story of Radhanath Swami, the journey home is amazing, amazing. There's a lot of amazing things in that autobiographical account. And when he finally gets to India, he's at a train station, and there was one snake charmer, and he was begging, he was getting some donations from the public by making his cobra dance or do different things. And then when this completely penniless was quickly to become an American sadhu, Little Richard, then later he became known as Radhanath Swami. The man had the snake coil all around him, even his neck. He could hardly breathe. And he wouldn't let him go because Radhanath Swami couldn't give any money. Not so nice. And some other man saw the plight, and he gave some money on behalf of Little Richard. And then the snake uncoiled, and he was there. So this is just a day in the life of Little Richard. An amazing account. Even if, I'm not saying it is, but even if it was 10% exaggerated, it's still an amazing, amazing account. I mean, it's just, he didn't even want to write that book, but Bhakti Tirtha Swami, on his deathbed or in his death room, he was insisting, you have to share your story with everyone. Promise me. And so he was obliged. A very sweet exchange. So what should we do? Should we go on a little bit, or we can have discussion about this? But all right, we'll go on. So we have a few verses, just narration with no purports. 24, 25. Balernu srijate kirtir vitata dikshva kalmasha aishvaryad brahmashitas yapi vipravyajena vishnuna shriyam jihir shatendrasya vishnave dvijarupine janam api mahim pradad varyamano pidaityarat. Translation. Indeed, the spotless glories, oh look, here we go. The spotless glories of Bali Maharaj. I promise you, I didn't look at that. I guess maybe I should become a BBT man or something. Hare Krishna. The spotless glories of Bali Maharaj are heard throughout the world. Lord Vishnu, wishing to recover Indra's opulence from Bali, appeared before him in the guise of a Brahmana and made him fall from his powerful position. Though aware of the ruse, that means the trick, and forbidden by his guru, Bali, king of the demons, still gave Vishnu the whole earth in charity. Another principle that comes into play there is not only the idea of giving charity and respecting someone's presentation. The Supreme Lord was presenting himself as a young child dwarf. I mean, how do you know he's a dwarf? He's a child. Maybe he was really short. I don't know, somehow. Brahmana. But another principle is truthfulness. Bali Maharaj will tell his guru, when his guru is telling you, no, you gave your word that you give charity. You know, sometimes they say, where I come from, a man is only as good as his word. Maybe in Texas they talk like that. I don't know. I hope they still do. So the principle of honesty and keeping your word, Bali Maharaj, he tells that he was saying that one time, so what happened was, but Shukracharya was giving him all kinds of excuses. He was quoting some obscure Shastric reference that if it's for your own vital interest, you can lie. If it's this, you can lie. He's giving, so you can lie. It's okay. It's in Shastra. I'm your priest. I'm your guru, right? I'm telling you, go ahead and lie. It's okay. And how did the disciple answer? There's other examples like Ramanujacharya and what was his name? Yadava Prakash was his guru's name, the one that was not a Vaishnav, and he defeated him at the risk of his life. So here's another example where a guru really goes off, and the disciple can reject. And he was, aggressive, you might say, and responding. He was giving an example from Shastra, a more pertinent example from Shastra, that Buriyam, what is it? Buriyam, Iti Hovacha Buriyam, that's what it is. Sarva Alam basically, here's the translation. He was saying that there's nobody more sinful than a liar. One time, Mother Earth said, I can support any heavy weight except a sinful liar. You imagine, this is Mother Earth speaking. In other words, the weight, the pain that a liar gives to Mother Earth is worse than supporting the Himalayan mountains. Not a problem for her. But a liar, she can't support it. Alam sodum, sarva alam sodum manye. I think I can support any weight, but not a liar. No one's more sinful than a liar. Lika param naram. So here, amazingly enough, Jarasandha is invoking the example of Bali Maharaj. He still gave Vishnu the whole earth in charity. Text 26, still no purport. Jivata brahmanarthaya konvarta kshatriya bandhuna tehena patamanena ne hata vipulam yashaha. Translation. What is the use of an unqualified kshatriya who goes on living but fails to gain everlasting glory by working with his perishable body for the benefit of the brahmanas? Amazing. It sounds so, we say in America, it sounds so right on and so perfect. This is culture. But he's still a demon. Text 27. Ityudaramati praham Krishnarjuna vrikodaran hivipra vriyatam kamo tadam yatma shiropi vaham. Shukadev Goswami continued, thus making up his mind, the generous Jarasandha addressed Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima. O learned Brahmanas, he's playing along with them. O learned Brahmanas, choose whatever you wish. I will give it to you, even if it is my own head. Text 28. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Yudam no dehi rajendra dvanvaso yadi manyase yudarti no vayam plapta rajanya nanya kankshinaha. Translation. The Supreme Lord said, remember, Krishna was part of the trio. The Supreme Lord said, O exalted King, give us battle in the form of a duel, if you think it fitting. We are princes and have come to beg a fight. We have no other request to make of you. This is amazing. Usually, like in the modern age, two people want to fight. All right, let's step outside. We're going to, okay, let's, rah, rah, rah. But there's, elegance and culture. So we would please, we want to beg something. Would you please fight with us? This is what we're begging. It seems contradictory. If they're Brahmanas, then well, now the cat's out of the bag, as they say. Text 29, still without purport. Asho vriko dada partas tasya bratarjuno yaham anayor matuleyam mam krishnam janihi te ripum. Translation. Over there is Bhima, son of Pritha, and this is his brother Arjuna. Know me to be their maternal cousin, Krishna, your enemy. Okay, so much for the trick. The trick is now finished. All right, now this has purport. Evam avedito raja jahaso chais mama gadaham. One thing I was curious about, it kept mentioning Vrikodara. Oh, okay, Vrikodara, Bhima, right, okay. Bhima, one who is called wolf throat, Vrikod Udara, wolf throat, because that means he can eat tremendous amounts of food. But also Bhima karma, that he's performs Herculean tasks. Text 30. Evam evadito raja jahaso chais mamagadaham aha chamarshito manda yudam tarhi dadamiva. Translation. Shukadev Goswami continued, thus challenged, Magadharaj, that's Jarasandha, laughed out loud and contemptuously said, all right, you fools, I'll give you a fight. You know, that's what you can get what you ask for, you know. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that Jarasandha felt inner satisfaction because he thought that his enemies had been humiliated by having to dress like brahmanas to approach him. Interesting. Thus, the Acharya understands Jarasandha's mind as follows. Oh, weak ones, forget the botheration of fighting. Why not just accept my head? By dressing yourselves as brahmanas, begging charity, you have made your heroism set like the sun. But if somehow you have not lost your courage, I will give you battle. The Acharya finally points out that the goddess of learning intends the phrase Amarshito Manda to read Amarshito Mandaha. What's the difference? This is Amarshito Mandaha, and this is Amarshito Mandaha. It's the same, but it has an apostrophe before the M. So you have like wiggle room. You have room to move with the Sanskrit because just like we always discuss the niyamagraha. It could be taken with equal validity in two different ways. To niyamagraha, to grab on to the niyama, to the rules and regulations. And they also could be niyama-agraha. If you take the A like that, then it would be to not accept, not grab on, not attach oneself to rules and regulations. And both are one of the 6 causes of fall down in devotional service. That's a whole other subject. But it's just an example of the flexibility with the understanding the Sanskrit. So here you have the word Amarshito, you have Manda and Amanda. In other words, Lord Krishna and the Pandavas are Amanda, never foolish. And that is why they chose the best tactic for doing away once and for all with the cruel Jarasandha. That happens in other places. It happens fairly frequently. In the 10th canto, there's many references to the goddess of Saraswati. She actually guided a demoniac person to use these words because actually, whether he knows it or not, he's actually glorifying Krishna. Like there's one, was it Shishupal? There's one where you're saying you're the lowest, and if you just change the Sanskrit, maybe with an apostrophe or something, then you're the one that makes everybody else low. You may have heard that example. So this is interesting, that Jarasandha felt inner satisfaction because he thought that his enemies had been humiliated by having to dress like brahmanas to approach him. So he kind of like, out of ego, we can say, he interpreted it that, he already was so vain that even though he was already defeated 17 times, right? I mean, this is the last. Yeah, he was already defeated 17 times, and then one time when, I'm trying to get the sequence here, I'm not up to speed on it, but when Krishna acted like Ranchor, running away, he became convinced, just see, he's just a coward. I think he's going to say that here, that, no, I'm not going to fight with you, Krishna. You ran away from me. You're just a coward. Ranchor. So he already made that mistake of thinking that, disregarding the fact that Krishna completely decimated not only him but all his armies and everything 17 times. And for some reason he didn't stop to think that there must be something going on here. Why is Krishna all of a sudden he defeated me so completely and now he's fleeing? There's some trick here, there's something strange. He didn't think like that. He just took it, just see, he's afraid of me, Why should he be afraid of you? He already defeated you and your army 17 times. But Jarasandha didn't think like that. Yes?
Technically, he only defeated the army in Jarasandha's eyes, because he always let Jarasandha lie. He never personally attacked and had a fight with Jarasandha. So even though he whacked out his whole army, Jarasandha had 100 divisions of an army available to him. So just losing his army wasn't sufficient. If Krishna wouldn't fight him, he would just humiliate him and send him back. His counselors would say, try it again. Gradually he's going to fight him. But he didn't. He ran away instead. He never actually attacked and fought with Jarasandha. He always was back. So Jarasandha is thinking he's a coward.
But Jarasandha was still foolish in that regard.
He's a demon.
Yeah. Okay.
They do things correctly, they just don't think straight.
So here he's seeing that they dressed like brahmanas to approach him. And he's interpreting that, Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. So he's misinterpreting that they had no choice but to do that. Why did they do that? I don't know. We could speculate a little bit, but there may have been some particular reason why they did that. But it wasn't the way Jarasandha. It wasn't that they were afraid and that they felt, like inhibited to approach him. So they came as brahmanas, so they can, approach him and then take a deep breath and then get ready to fight or something. I mean, the fact is they're begging for a fight. It's not like they came begging for mercy, begging for, please don't be such a demon, please give back all the kingdoms that you overpowered. See, this is part of the general principle that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharatam. Dharmasya glani. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani. So it's dharmasya glani. That when there's a decline in religious principles and an increase in dharmasya glani, that means irreligion, then Krishna would come. So the idea was that there's too much unnecessary fighting. Krishna even removed his own Yadu dynasty. Ostensibly, Prabhupada, I was hearing a class, and twice he used the term make show. It's a make show. In other words, it's just a presentation. Technically, it's called this kind of lila that's a Moshala lila. It's got some actual maya involved in the lila. Some Mahamaya enters into it. Krishna leaving behind, I hope the bhaktas won't get confused, but Krishna leaving behind a material body, he did that just to bewilder the atheists. Those who had vision, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they can see Krishna was quite well, and he was ascending to Vaikuntha. So this is Moshala Leela. So Krishna, the fighting of the Yadus was a make-show, was Krishna, that they were a burden on the earth. So in terms of yada yada hi dharmasya, that fits in, because you have to remove unnecessary. And Prabhupada in that class, he was emphasizing that Prabhupada was so socio-politically up to speed. He even said that you can see in society, every time they can't manage properly, they don't know how to manage, and they can't rule, so then they invent some kind of war to distract everyone's attention, and then everyone's just fixed on the war, and they're forgetting about all the discrepancies in the administration. This is still going on. So Prabhupada said, that kind of war, sometimes war is necessary, like Kurukshetra, but that kind of war is not required. It's unwanted. That's a burden of the earth. And so the Yadu dynasties, ostensibly, they became a burden on the earth. And it's a fact that they were actually conquering in different directions, and they were becoming a burden. So that was the superficial or make-show reason. The real reason, Krishna wanted them to come with him. And also the idea was that they were so strong that nobody could kill them. So Krishna engaged them in killing one another. There's a whole arrangement for that. And even became intoxicated by taking some wine or something at Prabhas, was it? That place, Prabhas, the holy place, Prabhas. And then anyway, that's a little off the point. But so Lord Krishna and the Pandavas are Aman, they're never foolish, and that is why they chose the best tactic for doing away once and for all with that cruel Jarasandha. Okay, well maybe what Krishna Kripapu was pointing out helps to understand why this was the best tactic. Because up till now, the circumstances didn't allow them to directly confront Jarasandha, who was just confronting his army. They wanted Jarasandha to engage and become finished. So this is a way they can get close to him. No more armies, now it's you. We want you. So that's could be understood like that. And then it will go on, you'll hear tomorrow and how it goes on, how Jarasandha insults Krishna and Arjuna. You're not fit. But Bhima, he's a pretty strong guy. I think he may give me a good fight. There's another example where someone was asking for a fight. Exactly the example I was thinking of. And in that case, it's hard to explain the psychology of Varuna. He says, we have grown too old for battle, but I know someone that will satisfy you. Even stronger than Bhima Sen, Lord Vishnu, of course in the form of Lord Varaha. It's also that was like with Banasura, this Kshatriya spirit. They become frustrated. Nobody wants to fight with me. I have all this strength. Banasura, he approached Lord Shiva and said, what is the use of the benediction that you gave me? What you asked for? Well, what's the use of it? I have all this strength. I have, 1,000 arms? And everyone's afraid of me. No one will fight me. I got so frustrated, I would just break off mountain peaks and make the ocean have big waves and like that. And so anyway, Varuna said, you'll be happy. You'll find someone. You'll meet your match. They'll fight with Lord Vishnu. And of course, that was turned out perfectly according to plan. So, all right. So anyone have any comments or questions or clarifications, corrections? Yes, Prabhu.
I just have a quick question, and then I don't remember it, and I don't recall having read it. Did Jarasandha also have a boon that he could not be killed? Because there's only one way to kill him, as we'll play out. I don't want to put a spoiler out there, but...
Oh, did he get a blessing that aside from being bifurcated?
Yeah, like when he was joined together, there's some boon that went on that gave him the confidence that he could not be killed.
Well, I don't remember. Does anybody remember that detail? We know that we were discussing the other day how the mangoes were given to two wives, and they each gave birth to half a person, half a body. It was vertical, and so that was his Achilles heel. Of course, it goes from head down to the feet. His Achilles. It's kind of like the San Andreas Fault, going down vertically. That's where you have earthquake risk. So Jarasandha had that kind of fault line going vertically down, and you'll hear about how that happened. I don't know. I don't think anyone here remembers that. Whether in that Leela, did he actually have a boon? That's the only way he can be killed, by being re-separated. Well, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Bhima fought him for many, many days before Krishna gave him that idea that if you split him in half, and yes, but Bhima fought him for a long time. He wasn't making any progress. Neither one of them were giving up.
Yeah, there are different examples of fights that just go on, like when Bhima himself was fighting with Duryodhana. Bhima was superior in strength, and Duryodhana was superior in agility and technique. Yeah. So one canceled the other. No one could win. And Lord Balaram didn't like that fight at all. He just kind of left. They wouldn't listen to him. He'd say, "Hey, stop fighting. You're wasting your time." And they just were so angry. They just kept going. They would keep going and going. And then again, there had to be some special Achilles heel, so to speak. In this case, it was the thigh, or the middle part of his body, which his mother's mystic gaze, with her great piety, because she was Gandhari, was so chaste that she had this power, and she had this mystic power. So by looking at her son's body, it made him invincible. But he was, he had a little culture too. He didn't want to go in front of his mother, completely stark naked. And she said, "What are you doing? I told you you're supposed to be completely naked." He said, "Well, mother, how can I?" Oh, now there's a weak part. So that was there. And another, so there's an example of, I'm sorry, I'm spacing out again. Help me backtrack a little bit. Where were we coming from with this?
Just did Jarasandha have a boon that he couldn't be
killed?
Yeah,
you asked that question. Well, I'm just giving you an example of...
there are things out there.
Why did I use that one with Gandhari? That was getting sidetracked.
Just said that Bhima was also able to kill Duryodhana because there was a weakness that Krishna knew about and nobody else did. And actually, in that fight, Kshatriyas aren't supposed to hit below the waist. So that was, and Krishna again told him, hit him on the thigh, because they had to end the fight, and that's how. Yeah,
it was like dirty fighting. I mean, both sides. You say two wrongs don't make a right, but when you're fighting and the other side is using adharmic tactics, breaking the rules, then you really don't have much of a choice. It's a fight. So if you stick strictly to Dharma and you don't also break the rules, you're going to lose. So, sort of a desperate situation that was there in the Battle of Kurukshetra. And Krishna himself condoned that type of behavior, even on the part of the Pandavas. So there are different examples of... I kind of got spaced out.
Yeah, no, that answers my question, Sam.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Pranahari. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I had a question about, there was this one gentleman who, we were reading 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita about the charity and the different modes as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, as we began the class with that.
Mm-hmm. And charity in the mode of ignorance is when we give it to an unworthy person. And, examples were given about, sometimes homeless people, if we give them money, then they go and use it for intoxication, and this would be charity in the mode of ignorance. It's not recommended by Krishna. But one person had explained that, he said that, well, he quoted Yat Karoshi Yadashnasi Yajjuhosi Dadasi Yat, in terms of whatever you do, whatever you give away in charity, do it as an offering to me. So he said, if you do it, if you give money to a homeless person, but you're doing it for Krishna, then this is good. This is a good
How could you be doing it for Krishna if he's going to use the money for intoxication? I mean, the thing is that the verse also says avagyatam, and without proper knowledge. Also, it's I'm not saying one time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta rebuked his disciples, who was a very needy man, and he didn't know for sure that he was going to use every penny of the charity for very sattvic purposes. But still, he's saying, you should have some compassion, even materially, if someone's suffering. That may seem anomalous, because normally Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was very rigorous and very orthodox and very, you might say, a hard liner when it came to practice. But in this case, he was encouraging his disciples to be kind. Don't, as a Srila Prabhupada, he's saying that nobody within 10 miles from the Dham should go hungry. Food for life idea or something like that. Charity in the mode of ignorance. And Satsvarup Maharaj wrote this book called Vaishnava Compassion. And the basic theme of the book is that we shouldn't completely neglect the dress. In other words, you don't want to save the dress of a drowning man. If it's a choice of saving the person or saving his body, better save the person. But in the course of our dealings, we shouldn't be, it's natural if we see another devotee or anyone in a materially suffering condition. We say, it's just a dream. It's like somebody's thinking he's being eaten by a tiger. He's suffering like anything. Of course, the best solution is to wake him up. But at the same time, we do that, and we can't help but do that. We say, I know a good Ayurvedic doctor, I know this or that, or maybe you should get this surgery. We try to help. You can say, helping them for this. No, we're also helping them because they're suffering, and we want to not to suffer. So we should have some consideration of the dress as well. But at the same time, it's kind of dicey if somebody is really suffering, wants money, but we know that he's got that position of probably being a drug addict, and if we give him money, he'll buy more drugs, or you can tell he's a little intoxicated from the breath, so he'll take the money and go get a little nip. It's called. They have this half-pint bottle of a very strong alcoholic intoxication he'll get. So everything takes some discrimination. Sometimes it's hard to draw the line. That's why Srila Prabhupada was very happy when no one knew whether to kill that snake, because the idea is we shouldn't kill, we don't kill, but the snake is there and probably poisonous. So when it came to Srila, he said, kill him immediately. And then he quoted that verse that even the sages are happy when a scorpion or a chipit, what's that word? A scorpion or a pichu is killed. It's a phrase like that. Anybody else? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Just wanted to reference one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, the subject of charity. I'll just Nunam swartha paro logo na veda parasankata yadi veda yadi veda no yache neti na yad ishvara. This is in 6th canto, chapter 10. The translation is, those who are too self-interested beg something from others, not knowing of others' pain. But if the beggar knew the difficulty of the giver, he would not ask for anything. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty, for otherwise he would not refuse to give the beggar anything he might want as charity. Prabhupada very nicely explained in his purport, and maybe you can elaborate on it. I'll just read the purport, it's very short. This verse describes two people, one who gives charity and one who begs for it. A beggar should not ask charity from a person who is in difficulty. Similarly, one who is able to give charity should not deny a beggar. These are the moral instructions of the Shastra. Chanakya Pandit says, Sant nimitte varam tyago vinase niyate sati. Everything within this material world will be destroyed, and therefore one should use everything for good purposes. If one is advanced in knowledge, he must always be prepared to sacrifice anything for better cause. At the present moment, the entire world is in a dangerous position under the spell of godless civilization. The Krishna consciousness movement needs many exalted learned persons who will sacrifice their lives to revive God consciousness throughout the world. We therefore invite all men and women advanced in knowledge to join the Krishna consciousness movement and sacrifice their lives for the great cause of reviving the God consciousness of human society.
Right. Well, but elevates it to Vaishnava transcendental platform. Otherwise, just in the verse itself, if you say that, give to some good cause, that's low down. That's not even bhakti. In chapter 12 in Bhagavad Gita, you have that descending standards of, first is always think of me 24 hours a day. That's the topmost. And next, if you can't do that, practice the rules and regulations of bhakti yoga. If you can't do that, then work for me. Work for me. In other words, it could be in Daivi Varnashram Dharma, that's okay. Work for me. And then if you can't do that, then just be detached from results and give it for some material good cause. That way at least you'll get peace of mind. But that's considered less than bhakti. That's not considered even bhakti. But then Srila Prabhupada is saying, okay, then you give, be compassionate, but to really help the real peace formula, the real panacea, the real sarva bhuta hitera taha, the real welfare work is to give people Krishna consciousness. If we don't know the philosophy, that may sound like some sort of proselytizing. It may sound like some sort of overzealous religious idea that, the best welfare we just give them our particular brand of religion. But we have to know the philosophies. We'll know that we actually can deliver the goods, and we have the right goods. So thank you so much for your kind attention. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. I will. Can I give you the garland?
Of course.
I will.
I will.
Marcus, right?
Yes.
I guess. All right, so let's see. Give me another 15 minutes. I make it 11:15. I'm just so far behind my rounds. In my old age, I don't know. Somehow my rounds, no matter how hard I try, they're just going. I used to chant 5-6 minute rounds, and now it's just so many minutes for one round. It's very disturbing. I think I just have to have enough rest. Because I noticed that even in this time of my life, if I did actually get